Hey everyone, hey, it's Tom here. Welcome back to Battle Rap Resume. I'm here with a recap of a fucking incredible event. I'm recording this the afternoon after Checkpoint 4. It was just, oh my god, there were so many good battles, like reminiscing now even back from the eye of the storm. Just, it was just an incredible evening, so we're going to go through the battles, what went down, all that good stuff. Just before I do, as always, please follow the show at battlerapresume on Twitter. Keep up to date with us there. Get in contact with us, battlerapresume@gmail.com. If you'd like to help the show out, I'd really appreciate if you can go onto iTunes and leave us a review, a rating. That is really greatly appreciated in the sort of algorithmic scheme of things. Also go onto the Patreon, patreon.com/battlerapresume if you want to support the show. You can donate to get access to exclusive episodes. If you want to also donate a little bit more, get on the second tier, you get access to Battle Rap Resume episodes weeks, months before they come out. Currently, Tony D is on there. I believe next week I'm going to put Dialect on there. After that, Respect BA is going to go on there. So, yeah, if you're kind of in that vein and you want to help support the show, you want to go a bit further, that is greatly appreciated. Please also go to our Redbubble shop, redbubble.com/Battle Rap Resume. You can pick up some merchandise and such like that. But, yeah, I want to kick off by just saying fucking huge thanks to Don't Flop, both as a fan, the battles were exceptional. The battlers were terrific. But also, I guess, personally, as a bit of a correspondent, interviewer, you may have seen on Facebook that Don't Flop were gracious enough to have me on the staff, as it were, for the day, doing the interviews. And personally, as well, I want to extend gratitude to Ryan Morgan, actually. I thought, the guy did a brilliant job. He was coordinating everything yesterday. After every sort of battle, he was grabbing me and we were going backstage or upstairs or whatever. We were doing the interview briefly. And then they were going straight onto the Facebook, straight onto the Twitter, which I think is the best way to do it, really. It's nice enough to put it on the YouTube afterwards, but in the heat of the moment, getting the pay-per-view sort of advertising out there as well. So I'm sure if you you like the Facebook page at the moment, you can go back and see them there. And I'm probably going to try and get the content myself and put together like an amalgamation of all the clips and put it on the Battle Resume YouTube channel as well. So maybe if you listen to this a little bit in the future and they might have gone down beyond whatever announcements into the sort of digital ether, check out the channel and I'm sure you can get to them. But yeah, let's get into this kind of moment by moment recap. So got to the venue. About 1 and 2 o'clock. This is in Shoreditch, Concrete, with my good friend Danny O'Gorman. I've had him on the show many times. Very old friend of mine. Designed the Battle Rap Resume logo, as I always at pains to say. And yeah, we went into there, and I'd never been there before. I know Don't Flop had done quite a few sort of classic events at Concrete. It was not only where Shotty versus Yunnan went down, but also Enigma versus DK, Chronicle versus Im, Tony versus Adam the Rapper, so tons and tons of iconic moments there. And it was a cool venue, it was kind of underneath a restaurant of sorts. It kind of connected above there, and you go down the steps, and it is like a sort of cellar, as it were, quite a wide space when you get there. There's like an elevated stage, and then a sort of very, very expensive bar towards the back as well. They were selling those little dinky Heineken 330 cans for $5 each, which I don't really want to kick up a fuss about, like money and stuff. And I know it's like Shoreditch and whatever, but $5 each, that is just, absolutely laughable. But as an environment, it had a sort of combative edge, a kind of fight club, kind of, underground menace to it that I really, really appreciated. It gifted the battles, an extra sense of atmosphere. So it was really, really cool stuff. We got into the venue, and like so many of these sort of things, it took a fucking age to begin, which is all fine, really. You want to get enough people kind of getting in the room and stuff, and all the battlers were there, and the mood was awesome. It was really, really going well. But eventually, I sort of went outside for a breather. Had a good chat with Jay Ferg and his girlfriend. Shout out to both of them. We're sort of going through various battle rap news we missed since our last encounter. And at this point, Ryan took me aside and I started doing the first interview. So if you've seen these interviews, it's basically myself and a battler just sort of chatting, throwing a few questions at them here and there. And, I think they went really well, actually. I was a little bit nervous because they were going out straight. So it was kind of, I didn't really have any prepreration for questions or whatever. But the reaction was good. And they're not intended to be fucking like, Charlie Rose or anything like that. It's very sort of light stuff that I thought got better as the day went on. There were some okay ones. There were some better ones. There were some more questionable ones. We'll get into that. So yeah, spoke to Scoof. That was a really good interview, sort of pre-interview. The man Sharks, Bill Czar, Harry Baker, which was personally quite a rush for me because I'm just a huge fan of Harry in general, let alone from battling. So that was great to watch them. And as I say, go onto the Don't Flop channel, check out all these interviews and stuff like that. So yeah, we got downstairs and the first battle began. And normally they tend to go sort of on the bottom of the card and stay quite strict to that ordering. But in this case, they sort of skipped over one to get to Scoop versus DNA, which was a really good battle. I mean, it's kind of what you expect from both of these two. Scoop came very laconic, very measured, got a lot of reaction early on. I love the way he really just talks to someone. He gets in the ear, he perches, he tells some truths there. He has that slow flow that can be quite engrossing. DNA was more, I have such respect for DNA, the journeyman, the highwayman, the guy who can just go from league to league and really put in these performances. And he still was excellent, don't get me wrong. Obviously, we're getting a lot of scoop lines. You could see that DNA had written the word scoop on paper and be like, hang on, this is cop. This is oop, this is PC, whatever. And we get those sort of bars. And we get a Klitschko bar as well. And Scoop flipped that. And yeah, it's kind of huge props to Scoop, really, I think, for this. I think kind of if DNA really, really wanted to go for the gullet, he probably could have won this. But I think Scoop, not been battling long at all, didn't show any signs of fear, of nervousness, really delivered his material throughout. That had the flip, as I say, and won brilliantly, like won really well. And apparently wants to battle Respect BA next. A lot of people actually I spoke to want to battle Respect BA next because he gave it an incredible performance. We're going to get onto briefly with Sirius, but yeah, Scoop DNA was really, really good. We have sort of you came here with an Arsenal, I came with an Arsenal. That's why I'm top 4. If you don't, just kind of nice stuff like that. Kind of nothing too reinventing the wheel here, but just some good stuff. And as I say, there was the pocket check moment as well. Scoop pocket checks DNA pocket checks back. I'm not going to pocket check if there's nothing in the pockets or whatever, something like that. And I also want to take this moment as well to shout out a good friend of the show, Sam Bear Solutions, aka, who was doing the battlerapp.com Twitter, did an awesome job. It's a very difficult thing to do. I've never actually done the battlerapp.com one, but I've done it sort of myself, trying to keep track. And you kind of sacrifice your enjoyment to a certain extent, but Sam managed to get a lot of the quotes and be very, very lucid. So, alongside this recap, if you want a bit more of a detailed sort of script analysis, definitely follow them, battlerapp.com. But yeah, that was a good battle. I mean, Scoop DNA got the energy up, and then we got into the second battle, the on-beat battle, Press 1 versus Bilzar. And I was with Lazy Ass Jack and Sam and my friend Danny at the time watching this, and we were kind of, I think me and Lazy turned to each other quite early on. Pretty much within 10 seconds of Press 1 Bilzar, it was quite evident this was quite a bit better than Scoop DNA. The energy was excellent. I mean, there's more on the line in this case as well. They really were both gunning for it. And Bilzar began, and it was strong. It was getting a hell of a lot of reloads on kind of slightly bait material. Like I had Press on the show recently. We were building up to this clash and kind of recapping stuff. And there is that tendency to sort of just do like kebab shop kind of talk that nondescript Middle Eastern stereotype shit. And it was okay. And you could sort of see Press rolling his eyes quite a bit, and it didn't really coast too much. But I mean, this early in the day or whatever, it was doing well, and it was kind of it was kind of moving in the direction it needed to. And Bilzar had a good first. It was a really, really strong first, no doubt about that. Got players on a case like a FIFA cover. It's fucking great. It's all been prearranged, like your family's relationships as well. So we've got something going in that. But I think Press showed out in that first, really. Press just punches way, way harder, way more original, and kind of, personally for me, has just a bit more of an interesting flow. I know that might be sacrilege to say, but I just prefer Press 1 out and out, really. I just think, you're only good on grime like Mr. Muscle. Like, fucking hell, like, we get Bills, a lot of Bills flips as well, but kind of on beat as well. You got to accommodate the name flips a little bit more. So that was a great first round for them. Really kind of almost 1-1 going into it. I think that was definitely Bills' strongest round was the first. We had the second round on grime, which Press beat him. Like, I was a bit surprised, really. This was a long round, a lot of reloads in this. But Bills, again, didn't really have any content. Like, he sort of had the image of Danny Jack wanking, which I mean, got a huge thing. And I understand this is what sort of, Grime's about. It's about getting reactions, stuff like that. But I don't know, it's not really what I'm interested in, just sort of silly brap kind of that sort of stuff. And it's just, I don't know, it can work to a certain extent, but I think Press showed how you could do both within that same, the dichotomy of that round was stronger. The third was Press's again, and, I think most people felt that Press had won, really. I don't think there was much surprise. And, when we sort of went outside and it was all sort of, the judging was going down, and we came back and it was a 7-0 decision, which is, pretty surprising. Shout out to Press 1 for becoming the first Don't Flop on-beat champion. That is a mad achievement. And I think, it sets levels, and it's exciting to consider who would he face next. I guess Dialect, Raptor are probably the obvious ones as well. Maybe even Izzy Gibbs. But I think maybe Press Dialect a 9th birthday or something for the title, or some kind of thing like that. That could be really cool. But no, shout out to Press. It was awesome to see him win this. Awesome seeing him win this. And then I got pulled backstage. Kind of, if you were at the event, it's kind of, there was the double doors which led from the main room to where the toilets were, and then through there was the main corridor which passed kind of the restaurant kitchen and stuff like that. Then through some more double doors, and we're in the backstage Don't Flop room, and was there having his hair done, and Scoop was there, and they were taking like loads of photos, and various other battlers were there and stuff like that. And yeah, I just did a few interviews here that you may have seen where I'm Speaking to Scoop and DNA, it was awesome to chat to DNA. I spoke to him at the pre-party as well. It is very surreal sitting aside from these giants there, but he was really, really good as well. Had a chat with Soul. The Soul interview was a little, I don't know, I think I said Dothraki wrong, Dothraki, and it sort of got caught up on that. And then at the end of the interview, I sort of got caught up in it too much. It wasn't a bad interview. It was sort of a pre-ramble sort of thing. It wasn't too electric, but yeah, went back into the room, caught up with loads of people as well. It was great to see everyone, like quite a lot of battlers that I was chatting to throughout the day that I've sort of, we've arranged to do episodes and stuff. So Scoop's definitely going to be on the show for a Battle Rap Resume. Bobby Rex, spoke to him in the toilet actually. He's going to come on for a Battle Rap. I don't know why I haven't done Battle Rap Resume Bobby yet. Dank as well. Obviously had those two on together, but needs to do separate episodes. Impact outside as well. So it was awesome to sort of just see people in the flesh and kind of catch up in that regard and stuff like that. And we're back in the room, and Clips versus Harry, which is one that I was majorly excited for. And I mean, obviously Clips didn't really write directly. There was some good stuff here and there, but it wasn't kind of really angled towards anything. And there was an interesting theme as well where Clips said it, Arsenal said it, Calico said it, maybe Sirius said it, I'm not sure. All about their times, all about I only wrote for 90 seconds or whatever, and I only wrote for 2 minutes, blah 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 blah. Do you have to say that? Like, it can be quite self-evident if you finish a round, and it just, I don't know, it doesn't work on a sort of battle angle. It just makes you seem a little bit, kind of, I don't know, agitated perhaps. I understand, but you're here, spit what you can, and a lot of the time what they were spitting wasn't even like incredible material. I think a lot of people in various recaps that I've been reading this morning are saying that it's been a whitewash for the UK guys against the US, and I can't disagree really. I don't think there's even really a battle on their hands. I think a lot of these were mostly 3-0s, and I definitely think the Harry 3-0 Clips. I think Clips had some great stuff. Clips is very, very funny, and he can work it definitely, and inevitably we got a lot of Baker flips, and Harry just had some really, really brilliant stuff, like really going different with his material, really tailoring it, not getting too obsessed in breaking down sort of synonyms and puns, just going really for the throat there, and just coming up with some great stuff, and getting a bit more inventive as well. So in the same way that Clips at 7th birthday had sort of brought up Chiller and Danger and DNA on the stage, Harry sort of mimics that, and he gets Shonda and Rob Wilson on stage. I was speaking to Kraft actually backstage about this, and I was like, I expected to see you there, but it was kind of agreed that he was a bit, Kraft's a bit more serious, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, and it probably wouldn't have gone down that well. But probably the biggest moment of the battle, though, was on Clips' thing where Shonda had come on stage, and it was something along the lines of she was in a leather skirt, and Clips was like, obviously the pussy stinks. I mean, it had some mixed reaction. I distinctly remember Heretic's unimpressed face there. And quite a lot of people, you were either kind of bowling over laughing, or I was a little bit like, I couldn't actually see Shonda. I was at one of those awkward angles where the pillar just blocked it. But yeah, I'm sure she took it in good spirits, but it was like, it was a haymaker, and Clips, we've seen him on the sort of stages, what he can do with this sort of stuff, and, he really can do that. That's definitely in his arsenal. And Harry, had some excellent stuff. You also hit and miss. You put the hit and miss into hit and miss sometimes, which is just like, that's like you know what I mean? That's like a real sort of like old school, like, I don't know, really, really brilliantly put together joke, something you'd hear on like The Goon Show or something, really, really like well tailored, and some bespoke Harry stuff as well. This is feeling like an 80s song because I went aha when you said you take me on, and all this. I think Harry was excellent. Harry was really, really excellent. And Clips, again, if you want me to rap longer next time, email he's kind of focused on the fact that he wasn't there, but I mean, regardless, he was there. Harry grabbed this opportunity by the neck and did so well with it. It was a really, really good battle. And then we got into another incredible battle. This was Respect BA versus Sirius Jones. I was so excited for this one. Such a fan of Respect BA. Had him on the show recently. I'm sure anyone that saw the Tony D performance knows this guy's electric. And really, there's not a beat missed from that performance, really. I think Respect from the off was just doing like terrific angles. And it's funny, actually, because I saw, great friend of the show, Nathan Jones, does all the thumbnail stuff. He did a little recap on Reddit, and he was saying how he brought a friend of his and who'd never sort of been to a battle or whatever, and her favourite battler was Respect BA, which kind of makes sense because he kind of has that, simple but really, really effective punches. There's not too many kind of like angles going on here. There's not too many like contextual references you need to understand. It's just pure, just attacking writing, and it was really, really good. And it was just kind of going in a lot on kind of angles that have been done before, but really, really original, sort of in a way. Like, he spoke about the money issue with Lush. He spoke about the math issue as well, the punching. Your girlfriend takes more of a fisting better than you do, and all that sort of stuff here. Sirius did his stuff. I thought Sirius was quite well. There was some kind of more generic stuff here and there, and there was just a disparity in the kind of like the precision that they were going for. And I think respect, even though I think he was originally meant to battle Real Deal, and I had him on the show when I had him on the Battle Rap Resume episode a few weeks ago, I'd originally intended for us to talk about Checkpoint 4 before it came out, and to bring out like our 10-minute discussion of it, and we did talk about it. But afterwards I was talking to him and I was like, I might bring this out, and he was like, I don't know, that's a good idea, because he did actually say quite rightly he wasn't that infused about Sirius in the clip, at least, and it would have kind of deflated the build up slightly, which I agree, but you could not tell that, you know what I mean? Like, he really had terrific stuff throughout, and I really felt like, he did a lot of zombie flips as well. How can you call me a zombie? You're the one still talking after getting bodied. And the Lush angle as well, comprised with the sort of Sirius wanting to be an actor that only cast you if they remake Jaws or a loan shark. It's just, madness. I really think Respect bodied him, to be honest with you. I think Sirius was good, and I was speaking to Respect afterwards, actually. Had a great interview for the channel. And we were just sort of talking about how it went down and stuff like that. And he was saying that after they shook hands, right at the end of the battle, Sirius said, "Oh, you probably got me." Like, Sirius kind of admitted that. And I'm sure, like, he's that kind of proud guy that wouldn't have met that publicly, but that's what they sort of confided there, that, Sirius realised himself. And I think most people realise that, because, there's a few things in battle rap when people write in certain kind of, paradigms. You can say, okay, they're running out of ideas here, and Sirius did do the cliched of, I'm scheming off every name on the card, I'm gonna press one where the bills are, and it was just kind of like very, very formulaic, very, very holding you down the garden path. Not that exhilarating sort of writing from Sirius there, but nonetheless, so fucking awesome to have Sirius Jones on Don't Flop, and so fucking awesome that Respect BA bodied him as well. But Sirius still put up a fight. It's kind of I don't want to make it sound like he was really put in a corner, and Sirius had some great stuff as well. Like, he had some stuff again about the time limits, and sort of he was spitting for 90 and Respect was spitting for 5 minutes. That's what they mean when they talk about time difference or something like that. Really, really well thought out stuff. And then we got into our third battle. There were 3 battles in this moment. It's Calico versus Raptor, which was Calico himself, a few times in the battle, said it was a bit of a mismatch, and it was. So, what a joy to have Calico over here. What a shame that it wasn't 3 rounds against Gemini, but still awesome that he's facing off against Raptor here. And Raptor kicked us off, and Raptor did Raptor, really. I thought he was very, very impressive here. Again, not quite on that punch count, not quite on that big cannon Tony, dare I say, future punch count, but still really well written. Like, I spoke to him afterwards as well, and he was saying that, like, he understood in the league that maybe there are people that write better than him, but no one raps better than him, and I agree. Got the adrenaline up here, had some wonderful sections here, and showed no fear really with Calico, and just kind of also had playful moments as well, revealing Calico's name. What was it? So something Hightower, I don't want to misquote it, but it was quite an unusual name, and he was just kind of clowning on that, and that was quite funny. It went quite well. Raptor was nice though. Raptor was really nice. I'm from Manchester, a place where we have fights to pass time. They want to see a punch count. Fuck my pen. That's what my hands are for. Yeah, really, really awesome. And Calico, there's not that many quotables here. Like, and he sort of choked a little bit, and sort of there were just long silences, and he was drinking, and the guy has charisma off the charts, no doubt. And it was just a bit of a disappointment, really. I think this battle will get numbers, but it just could have been so much better. And I don't think this is Raptor's last battle. Again, I spoke to him after, and I think it was kind of like he said himself, you don't retire from battle rap, which is very true. So it's not ending in that sense. But, the vibe here was good, and I think people really were willing Calico to be a bit better than he was. I can't really think of much that he said in it, really. There's some sort of funny stuff, but just kind of, it got kind of stumbly, and the delivery wasn't clean, and just before I went to the battle, I was watching a couple of Calico sort of things the day before. Him versus Tay-Rock, for example, is just fucking stunning on both sides. And I wanted that sort of, really like that authoritarian sort of presence that he can command. But it didn't really happen here. And this one was a little bit of a letdown, not too bad. I think Raptor was really, really good. And, Calico could have been better, but what are you going to do? I then went backstage again and had, I think, the 2 best interviews, if you want to check out the 2 ones that I'm sort of most proud of. I chatted to Clips, first of all, which is, I mean, the guy oozes that personality. Really, really great to talk to him. Really, really lovely guy as well, really friendly guy. And I sort of threw him a bit of Gambit early on that he really rocked with. I sort of asked him what his favourite Harry Baker poem was, and he just, he rolled with it. He knew about the prime numbers one and stuff, so that was really fun. Also got to talk to Calico, which I got to be honest with you was, highlight of the day really for me, to chat to the guy. And what a guy as well, like, again, just like really comfortable in front of camera, really funny with his answers, like, and just, I think we had a good back and forth there. I think that was nice. Maybe I kind of try and not, ask open questions and try and just sort of get a little bit out of them in that 3 minutes or so. And I think with Calico, we had a good little go there. We then got into the final two battles of the night, and a problem sort of arose here that I'm sure a lot of people at the venue will be quick to point out, and hopefully this won't manifest itself on camera. There was some odd static on the speakers, so that we got our first real taste of it. It come and gone in certain places, like the main mic that was using, when he was introducing the matches, he was at pains to, elaborate that he didn't want to use it for long because it did have a lot of hiss, a lot of feedback. It was quite distorted in places. And we got to Tony D versus Arsenal, and there were just a lot of moments here, especially in Tony's rounds, where he'd be speaking and it would like completely obliterate what he was saying. He really was about the static in a certain sense. And this was, wasn't a bad match. I thought Tony won. I think Tony had some excellent lines that I can't really remember, to be honest with you. I was getting quite tired at this point. I think I went out for a drink of water. I think a lot of people were getting quite fatigued. It is a long day, and being in that cellar as well, there's no ventilation really. There are a few air vents if you manage to get yourself lucky enough beneath one, but quite hot, quite sweaty, been in the room for probably like 7-8 hours at this point. And, it's high energy clash. I think Arse does Arse really, and the crowd love him, and he can do some quite good motions. The first especially, I thought was quite a high point for him. But Tony did well, really. Tony kind of had a nice thing about how Arse is quite depressing and quite angry, and what's he got to be upset about, sort of thing. And that was a really nice sequence. And, Tony is just swagging out, and he's such a joy to watch, really, so comfortable on that stage. And it was a good battle. I don't know if this is going to be going down as like a classic, to be honest with you. I think kind of in the echelons of battles, it's probably on the lower tier. If you maybe compare it to like a Press Bilzar, Respect Sirius, even Clips Harry. But it's still good, and still great to have these guys there. And inevitably, Arse mentions the time limits as well. But whatever, that's a recurring theme. Why spoil the pattern? And we get to the final match, the title match. This was one of the best battles I've ever seen, live or otherwise, on YouTube, anything like that. I've never reacted so hard to a battle. I was screaming, as a lot of people were. There were explosive reactions throughout. What an exciting thing that we were dwelling upon here, when we were like Shocks and Soul on the stage, and it's all going down. It was just, oh man, getting goosebumps even thinking about it. It was just, so long awaited here. And we kick off, and Shocks brings it, in the first, and it kind of played out how I thought it'd play out. Shocks doing, endless stream of punches, what you expect, and the crowd really just like original stuff as well. I think that's where Shocks' stuff comes from. Like, it's both the velocity and the aggression of it that you can just vibe off, and that works, but it's also that sort of thing that clicks in your brain, that little sense, oh fuck, how did he think of that? Like, or that's just like, he really has such a great way of snapping patterns together. And his first was great, and Soul kind of played by the script really in the first, because he just sort of obliterated Shocks' first. Like, that's not to say that Shocks' first wasn't brilliant, but Soul has that way of just like being quite aphoristic and capturing movements really, really well, and being quite snidey even with it. And I think Soul won that round. I think that was a really, really tightly contested round, but I think Soul won that round. Soul in the second, though, it was interesting. I thought it was kind of a badly thought out angle. I've got to be honest with you. I don't really know what he was getting at here. Shocks kind of just punched. It was kind of similar to his first. Really, really good. And Soul kind of clowned on the fact that Shocks had, around Christmas time, put a number out there. He got a SIM card if anyone was feeling lonely or anything like that they could get in contact with him, which is like a lovely thing to do. Anyone that knows Shocks, I'm sure anyone that's seen any videos or listened to any interviews on the Battle Resume or whatever, like, he's the greatest guy. He's such a humble, lovely human being, so caring and empathetic. And I don't really get like what Soul was trying to say here. Like I understand it's battle rap and you've got to just make angles out of things and clown on whatever, and I'm not sort of like, oh, blah blah blah. Like, I understand that sort of thing, but it's still, I think in the room as well, even right when I was watching it, I was just thinking, what? I don't know, why is he going for that? And also there was the kind of like, I'm 25, you're 35 sort of thing. I don't want to be where you are. And it's like, again, something like that I don't really get, to be honest with you. I just think it's battle rap. It's like, there's no age here. Like, it's just skill. It's just competitive writing. There's no shame in being Shox' age and doing whatever. Like, you know, if anything, it's pride. It's cool. Like, you know, I think it's awesome that he's doing that sort of thing. So there was that. And, you know, I think that kind of gifted Shox the round, really, because it was a little more rudderless from Soul. And then on the third, again, I think I spoke to Soul when we were backstage, before we actually did the Dothraki interview. I was speaking to Soul sort of how he was thinking about the battle, and he was saying that his third was different. You know, he's trying something new with his third, and he didn't know if it was going to work or not. And I don't think it did work. I think it was just a bit too softly spoken for me. Like he had said earlier on that he was sort of taking Shox through hell, and in his third, it was the kind of encapsulation of that idea. It was kind of talking about how, you know, painting this really beautiful picture. He said something along the lines of like pen versus a paintbrush or something like that. And Soul is obviously, you know, beyond gifted with the words and really can illustrate a point exceptionally well. But it just didn't coast for me, to be honest with you, and it didn't kind of have like his standard attack. It didn't have that sting in the tail along with what it was doing. And like, I respect that, and like, you know, it's great that Soul was trying something new here and going for different directions. But I think really Shox, you know, he sort of kicked us off with the third round, as it were, and his third is one of the greatest rounds I've ever seen. I couldn't believe the amount of punches in there. It was absolutely astonishing, the stuff he was coming up with, like the Hadron Collider, Matter Underground, the Liner Box, like Witness, like just, you know, how does this guy think of it? And, you know, he had the momentum with him, really, and I think people were, at this point in the battle, there was this feeling, okay, this isn't like a Soul Raptor where Soul's just kind of, you know, really coasting and showing his sort of thing. Like, it was this kind of competition for it. And when Soul was doing his slightly, like, I don't want to, like, it was a great round. Like, I don't want to dismiss it in any way. Obviously, Soul is my favourite battler. He probably always will be. You know, I've got such admiration for the guy on and off the stage. But I just felt that Shox was delivering something with a bit more intent here. So that went down, and then, you know, there was lots of hubbub, and a lot of people were saying Soul won it, but I've got to say, I thought Shox from the off, really. I was speaking to a lot of other people who were sort of going with the same thing, sort of thing. And then the judges went back, and we got our decision, and Shox took it. It was a crazy moment, but yeah, Shox is the fucking Don't Flop champ. You know, who can believe that? Absolutely madness. Unbelievable. You know, what a great move. What a great moment, you know. And huge congratulations to Shox. Pretty much as soon as this ended, me and Shox went backstage with Ryan and we filmed a quick interview that, again, you'll be able to find on the Don't Flop channel and all of that. And of course, what was interesting was, when the verdict for Shox came through, and I was kind of standing off the stage or whatever, like with a few people started coming up to me, you know, friends and strangers alike, saying, "Oh, you're battling Briggsy now?" Because, of course, as I'm sure you're aware, maybe you hate this, maybe you love this, whatever. I know there's a lot of naysayers out there to this battle, but me versus Briggs, we had the beef. Check out Battle Resume past episodes for the post-beef analysis and all that good stuff. Shout out Danny Jack. And, you know, basically what it culminated until this point with Briggsy agreeing 100% to Shox's ask that if Shox wins, our battle goes down, i.e. Soliloquy battles Briggsy. And Jace is on stage kind of waving at me and laughing, and loads of people saying, "Oh shit, you're going to battle Briggsy now, you're going to battle Briggsy," and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, that is a mad little element of it. And look, I know, I get it. A lot of people, for some reason, are really kind of anti this clash and quite bitter, or just don't see why, or whatever that. But you've got to understand that a lot of fucking people want this. Not only does you know, the founder of the league want this. He posted it on Viewpoint this morning, getting people there. When I was going back on the coach, I got some charge on my phone. I was going through Viewpoint. There were 2 different threads saying, you know, this is Tom versus Briggsy can now go down, so people going out there for it and stuff like that. The title holder wants it as well. You know, this isn't some beggy, petty feud. This is a legitimized matchup that is desired. And Briggsy, I'm down. Like, you know, I've been writing quite a bit for it, actually really enjoying writing it. I've got some great material. I've got to say some stuff to you that I don't think has been said before or properly really in the ring. You know, I really need to talk to you, essentially. And this has now been, you know, codified, really. You know, you said if Shox wins, we'll battle. And Ura suggested on the Viewpoint thread that we do it at April Fools in June. I am down for that. You know, I want this, and a lot of people want this, and I've earned this, and I'm gonna beat you, and we need to do this battle. Really, I actually saw Briggsy when we were there at Checkpoint yesterday. We embraced briefly. I said hello. You know, it's cordial. It's not you know, it's not on site or anything. It's like there's no bad blood. It's just battling. That's the kind of competitive nature of it, and I said to him, I heard the battle with Danny Jack would be good, and he said I'd be surprised, and I'm sure I will be. It sounds a lot better than I expected. So yeah, obviously this is about Shocks and Soul, but it's Battle Rap Resume, so I'm gonna have my own tinge on it, really. So who knows? And I mentioned that to Shocks backstage as well, and he was laughing about it, sort of saying that's why he did it all along and sort of stuff like that. So yeah, Briggsy, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, let's fucking battle, man. Like, do not back out of this again. Like, I saw there was a little bit of Viewpoint kind of kicking up and stuff like that, and you posted some sort of smoke bomb thing for Raptor and Shocks 3 rounds, which, by the way, I mean, let Shocks battle some new people, like, all the love to Raptor, but Shocks himself in the after interview said he wanted to battle Respect BA, and I think that'd be a way better battle. Maybe Shocks Raptor if Shocks defends it in a couple of years, but I think the next title defense really should be Respect BA versus Shocks. That would be an incredible battle. But yeah, let's do this battle, because you posted that smoke bomb thing. I just said it's a smoke bomb thing. I got a hell of a lot of people liking that comment. A lot of people want this, man, so stop backing out. But anyway, went upstairs then and did a few more interviews. These are going to be interviews that are going to be released in the future shortly, probably next week or so. Crafty, huge friend of the show. Shout out to Crafty absolutely every time. And brought his camera along. And I did some interviews with some people outside. I spoke to Respect BA for a couple of minutes, which was really good. Spoke to Tony D, Josiah, and Locksmith. We had a great little recap there. That was really fun of all the events, stuff like that. Raptor and Danny, Jack as well. Sirius Jones in the queue. That was an awesome discussion. We went in on, the Respect BA, London. We spoke about his angry fan thing with Hollow, all that stuff. I mean, the guy is a real delight to talk to. So that was awesome to have his time. Callum as well. We had a brief interview with Callum just before I left. And then, yeah, me and Danny headed off the long train back to Victoria and elsewhere. And it was just a fucking unbelievable set of battles. All of them were very, very watchable. I can't wait to watch them back. I will urge you, if you're listening to this, don'tflop.com/PPV. Definitely pick up all the battles. They were just terrific. Check out the interviews on the channel. Shout out again to Don't Flop for an incredible event. Shout out again to Ryan Morgan, again, for all the work you put in, mate. Really, really appreciate it. I love doing these interviews, and, they seem to get a dope reaction, so I'm going to continue doing them as long as you continue having me. But yeah, those are all the battles. That was Checkpoint 4. It was an outstanding event. Briggsy, battle me, because, Shocks won, so it's all been set, really. But yeah, not going to let this go. But no, yeah, so that was Checkpoint 4. As I say, again, the pay-per-view, don'tflop.com/PPV. This has been Battle Rap Resume. As ever, patreon.com/Battle Rap Resume if you want to get access to episodes weeks, months before they come out. Follow us at Battle Resume. Get in touch with me, battleresume@gmail.com. Leave an iTunes review. Thank you, guys, as always. Shout out to everyone who fucks with this show. I really, really appreciate you guys. I'm sure we will see you for the next preview, recap, whatever. But yeah, until then, take it easy.